The wind swept gently across the open plains of Texas, brushing against the golden grass that danced beneath the evening sun. The sky, painted with strokes of orange and purple, seemed to mourn the day's end. A lone figure walked along the dusty road, a woman, her steps heavy with memories and her eyes clouded with exhaustion. Her name was Sarah Whitmore, a young widow who had buried not just her husband, but also the pieces of herself that once believed in tomorrow. She had been walking for hours, her worn leather shoes sinking into the dirt with every uncertain step. The road stretched endlessly, like the ache in her heart. The last of her money was gone, her suitcase torn, and her hope, flickering like the dying sun, was fading fast. She didn't know where she was headed, only that she couldn't stay where her past haunted her. Her husband, Daniel, had been everything, her protector, her laughter, her home. His death in a construction accident had shattered her world. The insurance company denied the claim. The bills kept piling up. The little house they had built together was taken by the bank. In the span of 6 months, she lost everything but the memories that refused to let her sleep at night. As she reached the bend in the road, she saw a rusted signboard half buried in dust. Silver Creek Ranch, 3 miles ahead. She whispered to herself, maybe there's someone there who can help me. But even her voice sounded fragile, like a secret too afraid to exist. The sun dipped lower, shadows crawling across the land, when a deep rumble echoed behind her. Sarah turned around to see an old black pickup truck rolling toward her. The driver slowed down, his hat tilted low over his eyes, his jaw strong and unreadable. He looked like he belonged to the land, rugged, weathered, yet alive with quiet power. The truck stopped beside her, dust swirling around. The man rolled down the window, revealing a pair of striking steel-blue eyes that studied her like they could see right through her sorrow. "You lost, ma'am?" he asked, his voice deep and calm, touched with that soft southern drawl that made every word sound like a promise. Sarah hesitated. Her throat tightened. She wasn't used to kindness anymore. I guess I am," she whispered. "I don't really have anywhere to go." The cowboy looked at her a moment longer before stepping out of his truck. He stood tall, his boots sinking slightly into the dirt. His shirt sleeves were rolled up, revealing strong, tanned forearms, and his hat cast a shadow over eyes that had seen both storms and sunsets. "I'm Cole Matthews," he said simply, offering his hand. "I own Silver Creek Ranch just up the road. It's getting dark. Ain't safe for anyone to be wandering out here this late." Sarah looked at his hand, hesitant. "I don't want to be a burden." Cole's lips curved into a faint smile, one that didn't quite reach his eyes but carried warmth nonetheless. "Darling, you don't look like a burden. You look like someone who's been carrying too much for too long. Why don't you let someone else take a bit of that weight for a while?" The words broke something inside her. She blinked back tears, nodded slightly, and took his hand. His grip was steady, grounding, like an anchor in a storm. He helped her into the truck, and as they drove, silence filled the cab, comfortable yet charged. The radio played an old country tune, and the smell of leather and pine filled the air. "You from around here?" Cole asked. "No," she murmured. "I used to live in Dallas. My husband, he passed away last year." Cole nodded slowly, his expression softening. "Sorry to hear that. Life's got a cruel way of taking things from good people." She looked out the window, her reflection fading into the dimming horizon. "I just needed to get away. I thought if I kept moving, maybe I'd stop feeling it." He said nothing for a moment. Then quietly, "You can run from a place, but you can't run from what's in your heart. Sometimes the only way to heal is to stop running." They reached the ranch as night fell. Silver Creek Ranch stretched wide under the starlit sky, rolling pastures, white fences, and the soft glow of lanterns near the stables. It looked like a painting of peace, something almost unreal in her broken world. Cole parked the truck and stepped out. "Come on, you look like you could use something to eat." Inside the ranch house, the air was warm and filled with the smell of fresh cornbread. The wooden floors creaked underfoot, and an old golden retriever wagged its tail lazily near the fireplace. Sarah felt her chest tighten again, not from pain this time, but from the unfamiliar ache of comfort. Cole handed her a bowl of soup. "Ain't much, but it'll keep you warm." She smiled faintly, whispering, "Thank you." He watched her for a moment, then said quietly, "You know, this place used to be full of noise. Laughter. My parents built it from nothing. After they passed, I thought about selling it, but I reckon I couldn't. Some places ain't just land, they're memories." Sarah looked up. "I know that feeling." Their eyes met, and for a second neither spoke. It was as if their pain recognized each other, two lost souls standing in the same storm. When she finished eating, she tried to stand, but dizziness took her. Cole caught her arm before she could fall. "You're worn out," he said gently. "Guest room's upstairs. You'll sleep better under a real roof. I can't stay here." "Yes, you can," he interrupted, his tone firm yet kind. "At least for tonight. Tomorrow'll sort itself out." Sarah hesitated, but the exhaustion in her bones left her no choice. She followed him upstairs, where he opened a small guest room overlooking the fields. "There's a blanket in the chest. Bathroom's down the hall. Rest easy, ma'am." She nodded softly. "Thank you, Mr. Matthews." He tipped his hat slightly. "Just Cole'll do." When he left, she sat on the bed, running her fingers over the quilt. It smelled faintly of cedar and sunshine. She looked out the window. The moon hung over the fields like a guardian. For the first time in months, she felt safe. Downstairs, Cole poured himself a glass of whiskey, staring into the flames. He didn't know what drew him to that woman. Maybe it was the way her eyes carried a quiet storm, or maybe because he knew what it was like to lose something you couldn't replace. When the clock struck midnight, Sarah woke from a dream, one of Daniel smiling, fading into the distance. Tears slipped down her cheeks. She got up quietly and stepped out onto the porch. The air was cool, and the stars glittered like hope reborn. Cole was there, leaning against the railing, hat in hand. "Couldn't sleep either, huh?" he said softly. She smiled faintly through tears. "No, some nights are louder than others." He nodded, looking out at the horizon. "Out here I talk to the land when it gets too quiet. Sounds crazy, but sometimes I swear it listens." Sarah wiped her eyes. "Then maybe it can hear me too." He turned to her then, his gaze steady and gentle. "What would you say if it did?" She hesitated, her voice trembling. "I'd tell it I'm lost, that I don't know where I belong anymore." Cole stepped closer, his words slow, deliberate. "Then I reckon you just found the right place to stop wandering. You're safe here, Sarah, maybe for the first time in a long time." She stared at him, her heart beating faster. The moonlight framed his face, softening the edges of his ruggedness. He wasn't just a man, he was a promise she never thought she'd hear again. He reached out, gently lifting her chin so she'd meet his eyes. "You whispered you were lost," he said in that low, steady voice. "Then follow me home." Her breath caught. The night seemed to hold its breath too. For the first time since Daniel's death, Sarah let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, she wasn't walking alone anymore. As the night deepened, the wind carried a quiet peace across Silver Creek Ranch, somewhere between grief and grace. Two broken hearts began to mend. And as the camera would fade out for your audience, narrator voice, sometimes the people who've been through the storm aren't looking for rescue. They're looking for someone who understands the rain. Don't forget to subscribe for more heart-touching stories like this one, because kindness and love can still change the world, one story at a time. Morning sunlight spilled through the lace curtains, painting soft gold patterns across the room. Sarah woke to the sound of birds outside, their songs blending with the rustle of leaves. For a brief moment she forgot where she was. Then the memories of last night returned. The truck, the ranch, and the cowboy who offered her a kind of safety she hadn't felt in a long time. Downstairs, Cole was already working. Through the window she could see him near the stables, his shirt sleeves rolled, guiding a young horse with patient hands. There was something mesmerizing about the way he moved, steady, calm, in rhythm with the land. Sarah found an old denim jacket hanging by the door and stepped outside. The cool morning air kissed her cheeks, and for the first time in months she smiled. Cole noticed her and tipped his hat. "Morning, ma'am. Hope you slept all right." "I did," she said softly. "It's beautiful here." He nodded. The land's quiet, but it's honest. Has a way of teaching folks how to breathe again." She hesitated, then asked, "Can I help with anything?" He looked at her for a moment, then smiled. "You ever fed a horse?" That day became her first step toward healing. Cole showed her how to brush the horses, how to carry hay, how to find rhythm in hard work. Every small task gave her something she hadn't known she was missing: purpose. Days turned into weeks. Sarah found herself laughing again, at the ranch dog chasing chickens, at Cole's quiet humor, at life slowly returning to her heart. She started cooking meals in the old kitchen, leaving coffee ready before Cole returned from the fields. He never said much, but every time he took that first sip, he'd glance her way and smile, a silent thank you that spoke louder than words. One evening, after a long day of work, a storm rolled in. Thunder cracked across the sky as rain poured down in sheets. Sarah rushed to help Cole close the barn doors, both of them drenched but laughing like children. When the storm passed, they stood under the porch, watching lightning fade into the distance. Cole's eyes softened as he looked at her. "You've brought life back to this place," he said quietly. "For a long time it was just me and the dust." She lowered her gaze, her voice trembling. "And you've given me something I didn't think I'd ever have again, a reason to wake up." He took a step closer. "Sarah, sometimes God brings two broken souls together, not to fix each other, but to remind them they were never meant to stay broken." Tears filled her eyes. "But what if I'm still lost?" He reached out, brushing a strand of wet hair from her face. "Then keep following me home." The world seemed to hold still in that moment. The wind, the rain, even time itself. She could feel the warmth of his hand, the strength in his voice, and the quiet truth between them. Over the following months, the ranch became a symbol of new beginnings. Sarah planted flowers by the porch. Cole expanded the stables. They worked side by side, hearts healing in the silence of shared purpose. One evening, as the sun set over Silver Creek, Cole handed her a small wooden box. Inside was a delicate silver locket with her initials carved on it. "It's just a reminder," he said softly. "You don't have to run anymore. You're home." She looked up at him, tears glistening in her eyes. "I thought love died with him, but maybe love just changes its shape." He smiled, the kind of smile that carried peace instead of passion, steadiness instead of fire. "Sometimes, darling, love don't die. It just waits for the right heart to come back. That." Night, as stars blanketed the Texas sky, Sarah stood on the porch beside Cole. They didn't need words. The silence between them was full of gratitude, healing, and something new being born. The narrator's voice fades in softly for the viewers. When a widow whispered she was lost, a cowboy didn't offer her pity. He offered her a home. Sometimes the greatest miracles come not from wealth or fame, but from the courage to love again.